Hey.
Hey, alright, so today we are going to be butchering some chickens. We had about 40 chickens and we have 8 more left. So come with me and we'll grab a chicken.
There's they call them chicken tractors, where there's wheels in the back and and a rope in the front, and you just pull it every day. There's only 8 left, so.
Maybe 7, because you just did one, Dad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there might be only 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, there's only 7 left. Let's grab, it doesn't matter which one we grab. Let's grab the big one.
Are you sure that's even a meat bird, or do you think that's an egg layer?
It's a meat
No,
bird.
these are all meat birds, Holly. Audrey, scoot back a little.
Because I thought the meat birds don't have combs.
No, they
No.
do.
Holly.
Chickens, Holly.
I know, but I thought the breed they were like.
No, there's.
No, it just means they grow big faster than other chickens.
Oh.
So these ones are called red rangers or red broilers. Freedom Rangers, there's different names. We already did a bunch of Cornish cross, the white one.
So, this is our little setup.
Yep, this is the setup.
We got a little sink. My dad built this too.
Alright, this kind of
This
tricky
is-
part.
We call this.
This is the restrainment cone.
Let's put them upside down and.
Then
Come on.
You just tie them off with a bungee cord.
that's the first time I ever heard that sound. So cute.
And it just holds their feet steady,
Yeah.
and then you can kind of see
They're
his
little.
head
Head's
poking
coming
through.
popping out. Alright, so just make sure it's not like
Okay.
right in my face.
Why? Hi, chicken. Look.
Yeah, I see him.
Look at his eyes.
Alright, so for
Something from his
this,
beak.
I'm going to do the cut,
Water or something?
and then we're going to let it bleed out. And the reason we do this is that way the heart, if you just sever the head, the spinal cord, the heart stops beating right away and the blood is still in the body. But we do it this way, the bird slowly drifts and the heart still beats so that we get the blood out of the body as best as possible. Alright, Katie, back up.
Back up, Katie. You're gonna get blood on you. Just take it.
Come on.
Come on. It doesn't want to die.
No, they always do this. Come on.
Ew.
Alright, Holly.
Ew.
Alright, back up, please.
So, you got a good cut on him. He's bleeding pretty well.
You want to try to get a bit as best a cut as you can, just so that it bleeds out quicker than not. There's some jugular veins that you're aiming for.
Yeah, so this is where we.
This is the setup. I built this sink, and
This is actually the old sink that was in our house.
yeah. So I built the table for it,
Yeah.
and then this is a little stainless steel table that I got on Amazon. And I just bungee up. I just have a regular garden hose. And I just put a bungee on like a bird feeder thing, and it works. So I can just spray it.
Over here, we just have a cooler to cool down the chickens before we bag them and let them air out. Over here, this is actually like a turkey fryer, or this is a turkey fryer, but it works good as a scalder. And this is a chicken plucker. So you just throw the bird in there, turn it on, and it just takes off all the feathers. So, and this thing works really well. There's Probably some excess feathers still on the bird, but
One time we accidentally put the chicken in the thing for too long. Cooked
yeah,
the chicken.
yeah,
we did that once.
yeah. We put it into the skull.
Yeah,
for too long.
there's an ideal temperature that you want to use. So it's around 150. So 145 to 150. And the purpose of this is not to cook the chicken, but to soften up the feathers so that way the chicken plucker can easily pluck out the feathers.
Yeah.
So right now it's already, it's close to 150, but I'm just warming it up so that way it's right on temperature. And I used to use this big stick to kind of stir it around.
Dad, what do you use this for?
That's just to clean the feathers out of the water.
Oh.
So we'll give it a minute or so. It's actually coming up real fast, so.
Yeah. He's and bunnies are, I think they're sleeping right now. Hey, bunnies!
Oh, you're
Man, he is super fluffy right now.
Yeah. Hey, Fluffy Bun Bun. Hey, Rocky.
Rock.
It's Rocky, and this is Everett. You're so sleepy. Yeah.
You're so fuzzy.
Oh, has your water thawed out yet? It was frozen this morning. So fuzzy. There's a little hole right here. We just did that for their old feeders, but then we switched to just these little bowls, so we can just reach in there. Fuzzy. Oh, he's sleeping right now.
Looks like the chicken's just filling up.
Oh.
So those last movements there that you saw, those are the bird's like basically on its last bit. That's what happens to animals. It's just their nerves are firing off.
So, it should be almost done.
The water is basically at temperature.
So,
And so we'll just let him finish up real quick, Audrey.
yeah.
Up to temperature. And just get this off of here. And now we can grab the bird. It's been about a minute. Doesn't take long.
If you get a good cut
If
on
you get
it,
a
it
good
goes fast.
cut right on the jugular arteries, it doesn't take long. So it's a little bloody, but that'll clean all up. This pot, I mean, I'm not cooking it again. I'm just getting the feathers. Let me grab this stick. Just getting the feathers nice and just opening up the pores basically. So you do this for, there's different amount of time you can do this for, but if you have the temperature at the ideal, if the temperature is ideal, so right at 150, you all only have to do this for about a minute. The way you know it's done is, you know, you can kind of visually see, but also you pull out some feathers, and if they just pluck out real easily, like right now they're not coming out real easily. So wait, if they come out real easily, then you know it's done. The other way that people like to check is you grab its leg and you just rub the skin, and see how it just kind of starts to rub off? That means it's pretty much done. So let me just give it, I just want to be sure, these red ranger birds or red broilers are a little bit tougher feathers than like the white ones.
The Cornish cross.
The Cornish cross, which are the very commonly raised birds. These are very common also. So.
Wasn't the Cornish cross the one
See
that...
how those feathers just like come right out? Alright. So then, I just put it in here. You can film in there real quick.
Dad, wasn't the Cornish cross the one that we...
So see, there's little rubber fingers in here, and those will peel off. Alright, watch out, Holly. Film in there so they can see. Hey, that's So yeah, it kind of bounces around. It looks kind of funny, but the bird's dead, so it's fine.
There's still a little bit of the scissors.
Yeah, but this is all right because I like to cut the tails off, so I don't really care. But this one actually worked really good. So come on.
Still bleeding out.
Yeah, that's all right. There's blood. This is butchering. It's part of the process. So there's a lot of different ways to do this, but I kind of have a routine that I do. I always like to rinse it off a little bit. Back up a little bit, Holly, so you don't get wet. I'm always checking for pin feathers, you know, little feathers that didn't come out. But this one is like perfect. There's like almost nothing. You know, maybe like a little feather here or there. I'm not worried about the tail, and I'm not really. Some people will keep the feet. I don't really care about that. Not right now. Maybe in the future we'll find a use for it. So what I normally do, I have cutters. So I have a big knife, little knife, some pliers, and like these are like pruning shears. They're good for bones, so you don't dull out your knife. But with the feet right here, I just take it. There's a valley right here.
And a joint.
Yeah, there's a joint. So you just bend the leg out so you can, and get a little incision so you can see where you're going. Right there. And then I just hit it right on that joint. And get it from different angles, and then it just comes right off. And I just throw it in the gut bucket. Same thing here. Done. All right.
Now the legs actually look.
Yeah,
like
now
little
this looks
chickens on
like
the
what you're
bone.
used to seeing in the store and stuff if you buy a chicken. So next thing is, I mean, yeah, it's kind of graphic, you know, it's a head, but the chicken's dead. So it's just bones. Normally I use the pruning shears, and then I get my big knife in there, and I just kind of use the cutting board.
Did you cut the...
Done. Head. All right.
Now the tail?
Did you cut the pickle?
Holly, no, that's on the inside.
Oh.
It's not actually called a pickle. All right. So then I get. So there's a lot. Some people will leave the tail. There's some glands right here that if you're going to leave the tail, you have to kind of scoop out the glands. But I don't like to mess with that. I like to just cut the whole thing off. Because I've found that when we go to cook the chicken, we don't even use the tail anyway. So, or this little meat, we don't even end up using it. So, all right. So now this one, and ideally, and what I've done with a bunch of the other birds is I didn't feed them before, like 20 or 12 hours before. But these birds, I wasn't sure if the weather was going to hold out today, so I fed them yesterday, or actually even this morning, I think. So normally I do an incision right here. So that's why you can see their crop is full of seeds, which is what they ate because we're running out of food and we gave them the egg layer feed, so it's all right. So there's going to be some wasted food in there, but it'll be kind of cool because then you can see the actual what's in there.
Yeah, and we did a couple of like the chickens before this, and
You could see
the crop
which one-
was so big we just fed the seeds that were in the crop to the other chickens, the egg layers.
Yeah, the chickens, you'll find the other chickens, we call them vampire birds because they like...
You call them
They're
that, Dad.
They're like drinking the blood over there by the...
Yeah, they like the minerals that are in the meat and the blood.
Well, we don't call them vampire
Okay.
chickens. You do.
All right, Holly. Okay, so what I'm doing is, I don't know if you can see, Audrey, but I cut an incision in the neck skin, and now I'm just basically scraping around, trying to loosen up. There's membranes. You just basically, this is really tough right here, or relatively tough, so I can kind of use a lot of force to just kind of separate it from the skin. There's a lot of fatty ligaments in here, or not ligaments, but fatty, just fat and membrane. And esophagus and sinew, little nerve sinews and stuff are in here, so you're just kind of popping those out. And I just toss those to the chickens because they like it.
Look how big that crop is.
Yeah, it's pretty big. Normally this crop right here would be completely flat and empty if you did it right. I mean, not that you're doing it wrong, but if you really kind of don't want it to be
Super full.
super full. Yeah, so I'll take care of that in a second. So now I turn the bird on its back. I've already cut out the tail. They say about a 2-finger length from the vent right here. Incision. So I grab my small knife and I just kind of pinch it just like this and poke it through and then make an incision all the way down. Be careful not to cut too much into the guts and stuff. Then I get my finger in here and I just kind of do a little tear like that. It's just like that. So now you can have access to all the intestines. Then the other thing I do, come on this side, Audrey. Just come on this side. So now I have it like this. I like to pinch it right here. And then I do a cut here and a cut here, and that you're basically, this vent goes down and connects. And it's nice and clear on the sides generally. You can kind of get down in there and just cut it. So it's kind of, it might seem kind of gross to you if you're not used to this, but really,
once you get used to it,
it's not a big deal. And this is where your food comes from, so you know, you should get used to it. Alright, so I just kind of come down. Some of the intestines kind of coming out a little bit there, but it's fine. So cut down, and I normally get to about right here, and then I just kind of stop, and I'll come back to it. So you can see the vent. So by doing it this way, nothing's coming out of the vent. Everything's still in here. It's good. So now I still have this. Now normally what you're going to do is you're going to reach in there and swipe it around, get all the membrane out, and then pull. But right now if I pull, this crop is so big. Normally the crop will come out too, but it's so big that it's going to get stuck right here on the upper breastbone, chest area. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut that. And there'll probably be some seeds that I'm going to make a mess of just because of that, but that's alright. I'm just separating some more of this. So I'm just going to grab this whole crop area and just give it a good cut. And just cut the whole thing off. Let's throw it in the gut bucket.
Or you could just give it to the chickens.
Well, you could give it to the chickens too. They don't like it. Alright, so then I like to do this. Everybody does it differently, but I like to actually get down and just reach in here and get it all out. Like this, and that way use gravity as an aid. So there's really only, from my understanding, one major thing you got to be careful of when you're doing this, and that's you don't pop the vial sac. There's a little vial sac in here.
it's green, so we call it.
Yeah, so this is the intestines. It's kind of, you know, gross looking, I guess, but it's kind of neat to look at the same time. This big tough thing, this is called the gizzard. Some people like to keep it. And if you look right there, you have the kidneys, and then there's this little green sac that you don't want to break because it makes a vile liquidy mess. So I normally grab the gizzard and I kind of pull, but if it's not coming, I'll swipe it around some more. Try to get everything loosened up in there. There we go. It just kind of comes down in one mess. Then I just have a little tiny bit of skin to cut, and then there it goes. And that's like 90% of all the internals here. But anyway, so let me show you this vial sac. It's, well, right
There's a gizzard.
yeah, it's kind of tore. But yeah, the vial sac connects to the
Liver.
Yeah, so it's right here.
We just call it a pickle.
We call it the pickle because it's green, but it turns out to be a very bright neon green. So you'll know if you puncture it. If you do, it's toxic and can spoil the meat, and you don't want to use the meat if you do that. So it's not too bad. But anyway, so then I'm pretty sure this is a boy. But so there's the heart. You reach in, you grab the heart. Again, most people might think this is kind of gross, but it's really not that gross. It's just part of the way these animals are created. Anyway, there's the heart right there.
It's a big heart.
It's pretty big. Just throw it in there. Then the other big thing about this is getting the lungs out. I don't know how well you can see, but the lungs are, let me get some of this membrane out of the way. Just swiping it. The lungs are, see, can you see in there or not? Is it pretty dark? Anyway, there's these bright pink. You have to kind of reach around the ribs and scrape down underneath the lung to get it out. It's kind of hard, but you get used to it, and then it's not too bad. Alright, so that's the lung, one of the lungs, and I just toss that to the chickens, but they like it.
They like to
Running off with it.
Same thing on the other side. Long. Toss it to the chickens. And some people, you know, back up a little bit.
Watch over the gut bucket.
So keeping it clean. Then there's, I think this is like your, I'm not exactly sure what it is. Reproductive parts, maybe. There's some more in here that you can get out. Just reaching for anything you can. So now I'm reaching down and kind of swiping along the bottom of the ribs to get all the
membrane, or not membrane, but
yeah, I forget what they're called. Oh. I don't know if these might be the kidneys. Yeah, these are the kidneys. So the other stuff was the liver, and these are the kidneys. So now some people don't really care because, you know, they're cutting the meat off of the bone, so they're not worried if there's a few little pieces in there, which I'm not either. But it takes 2 seconds, and I've done this so many times now that it's not a big deal. The advantage of doing this on the grass is it's soaked in, and then the chickens, they really like it when I'm doing this. As gross as that sounds, why don't you come on this side, Audrey?
yeah.
Little bolt in the grass.
Just set it aside. As gross as it kind of sounds to say that the chickens like the when I'm butchering chickens, you know, you think about it, they're just little animals. They have small brains. They don't really know. But they do know what they want to eat, and they do know what they don't want to eat.
What's good for them and what's not.
Yeah, they know if something's bad for them, generally, I'd say 99% of the time they won't eat it. They'll know. So I'm not too worried about them as far as, you know, them having access to something they don't want to eat or they shouldn't eat. You know, most of this is, at this point, it's not, they don't really think of it as a friend or something. You know, it's just there. It's just there. It's just protein. It's just minerals, you know. So that's just what we do. Anyway, so now I'm turning it on its belly. I've cleaned it all out on the inside really well. Now I get the neck fat or the neck skin, and I just kind of pull it back, and then I always get my cutters.
Pliers?
Cutters.
And then I reach it way up here, and then I cut through, and then get it from the other side. You could use a knife. Some people just twist it off. I like to do it like this. It's just a little easier. And then maybe I'll use a knife. Just get the rest of this off. There we go. And some people like to keep it. It's really fat, or it's really muscly and tender. And some people like to use it, but I don't really have a purpose for it, at least not right now. So that'll go to the guts. And I'll bury all these guts in the compost pile. Let Mother Nature take care of it. And the last thing some people forget about is this is like the trachea, I think, right here.
Or let the chicken.
Or the esophagus. I don't know, one of the two. It's hard to get out sometimes. So I might have to reach in and pull it from the other way. Let's see if I can get it. There it is. Like the hardest, sometimes one of the more difficult things to get out. It's just hanging on by a thread. There we go. Alright. And alright, back up. I like to rinse it off multiple times. Some people will just wait to the end, but I like to keep it clean while I'm doing it. Just like to do. Okay, give it one last final rinse. Get all the insides out.
And just think, not that long ago, that chicken was in our front yard.
Yep, that's right. Now it's just,
Like how you got it at the store?
like you get it at the store. It has some neck fat and you'll just tuck that in. So now I'll put it into a cooler, which I have sitting over here. Just grab the bird. And I already have two others in there, so this is my third one I'm looking at right now. And we'll let that go in there. We'll get a few more done, and then we'll film and show you guys how we package them. We use shrink wrap bags and put them in the freezer and all that. All right. Hello again. So now we're at the point where all 9 birds that we had are eviscerated and processed and have been in a cooler, and now we've taken them out of the cooler and we have these little like paper towel stands, and that one's for a turkey, for my my smoker, and you just set them on top of it and let them drip dry, so that way you have as little amount of moisture in them as you can. And then we bought these on Amazon, these shrink wrap bags. They're really for this purpose, so just put them on, just wrap it all the way down, just take it out, get as much water as I can out, stand in there, just slide it down in. Now these birds already kind of have rigor mortis, which is when the stiffening of the muscles after death. So we don't put them right in the freezer when we're done. We'll put them in the refrigerator
for like 4 days.
For 2 or 3 or 4 days. So that's why they're kind of stiff right now. But you want to do that. You want to put them in the fridge to let the muscles kind of soften up from the stiffening that occurs. So now I just twist the bag, get a zip tie. You could use they have other types of ways you could secure this, but this is the way I'm doing it. And then I have these little pliers that I use. Get it nice and tight. Okay. Let me check this. So we're actually a little hot. Let's turn this off. So we want to be at 190, we're at 200. So let me let this cool off a little bit. Let's get this other one wrapped up.
These stands make the bird, like go up, but these ones, the birds are touching the ground. Oops. So this just different ones.
Do?
There was 9 left.
Oh, that's a small bird.
This
really
one's a little
small.
smaller. Okay. So
I'm gonna try to get it as tight as you
try
can.
to get as much air out of the cavity, chest cavity. When these, before we put these in the pot, so we were using that to scald. We dumped it out, rinsed it out, washed it out, filled it up with fresh, clean water. And the scalding temperature that we used for the birds was at like 150. but the shrink wrap bags need to go to 190. So that's why you want to just get a fresh pot. And then do this at the end, otherwise your temperature of your water is going to be way too high. Oops, I forgot to do this one. See, they're all stiff. So try to get as much air out. So before I do it though, I'll make a little hole in the bag. I'll poke a little hole with a knife in the bag. And then I will dunk it in the water for about 10 seconds, 5 seconds, or actually just like dunk it basically. And then all the bubbles and air will come out of that hole that I poked. And then we have these freezer safe stickers that we put on over
the hole.
And it also allows you to weigh, when we weigh the birds, and then we can write down what we. Let me just check this real quick.
Super.
It's probably still too hot, so we might need to wait a second. But let's find out. Oh, it's like right at 200. It's a little hot. We can give it a try.
Just don't cook another bird.
Huh? It's not gonna cook a bird.
Like that one time, or like.
No, that's why. I mean, 190 would cook the bird. All right, so let's pick this one. Actually, we'll pick this one right here. Let me get a large one. Look at this one. All right, okay. So the best place to do it on here is about right here. So I'm just going to make a little cut in the paper or plastic, just like that, a little tiny cut. Okay, don't get too close. All right, and I think that's it. Take it.
This is my favorite part because it puffs up and then
so
it like
if you
shrinks
watch,
down.
the bag will shrink. All right, there we go.
Then it just compresses it down around the chicken. And
Yeah, so you can see all the bag shrunk it all the way nice and tight, just like you had. And then we'll take it in, we'll cut off the zip tie, and we'll cut this off.
Or not off, but cut off.
We'll cut it off, we'll trim it down. And then that'll be that. So then I like to just dry that off, and then we get a sticker.
Where's that cut? I think it's right there. I don't know if you guys can see it, but we made a cut right there.
Just grab a little sticker. Hey, don't. Scoot back, please.
Right there.
Oh yeah, there it is, right there. And you just do it like this. Just put it right on. Boom. And these are also stickers we got on Amazon. Just a little safe handling, you know, looks professional, and it allows us to keep, you know, we're going to weigh the birds and then write the date that they were processed on, so we know how old they are. So that's it. And that took about that takes about 1 minute to do, so it's not that long. And we'll show you the finished product after this. And I can show you some of the birds that we have in the freezer so you can get an idea for what they look like. Okay, and this is the last step that we have. This is just how we do it. I have a little kitchen scale here. Make sure it's on ounces, pounds, ounce. So this is just what I like to do. I like to trim off this, cut the zip tie down. Same thing here. Cut down the zip tie. I mean, you don't have to do this, but it just
makes it more neat.
Now this is our, I think this is our prize chicken. It's like a small turkey. This thing is huge. I don't know how much it weighs, but we're about to find out. It's probably pretty heavy. 6.5.
6 pounds and
5 ounces. This is pretty massive. Yeah.
6.5?
Yep. 6.5. So just use a Sharpie. 6.5. And then today is, what's the date today? 16th.
Oh, did I have your watch and tell you what today it is?
Anyways, I'll put the date here, and that's it. Let's measure this one too, because I'm curious how much this one weighs. This was the Cornish cross.
It's big.
This is 4.11.
Wow.
Yeah, so you can see how much bigger that one is. It's almost 7 pounds.
It's squishy too.
4.11. Alright, and that's it. Basically, now I'm just going to put them in the fridge. And here, come here. Let me show you this. Careful. So, I don't have space in there, but you can see we had some in there. Those are thawing out. But these are all ones I've already done. There's a whole bunch more in the garage. So most of them are a little bit smaller, 3.12, 4.10. But you know, they turn
Like rock hard.
rock hard. Yeah.
Not squishy anymore.
No. So I think our other biggest one was 4.7, so that one blew it out of the water. Here's another little one, tiny one out there.
Very tiny.
All right, and that's it.